I was studying trumpet when I was 21.
I had a friend who gave me Ben's phone number. I was nervous when I picked up the phone. I wasn't sure what he would think.
Hello,
Hi,
is this Rhonda?
it's Rhonda.
You have such a dynamic voice. You sound like you should be a voice actress.
Can you imagine me saying, it's Love Songs with Rhonda?
I already knew after just a few phone calls that emotionally I was toast. Our first date was a really expensive one. We dined at the Arby's.
I had went out a couple times with people, just like 1 or 2 dates, and it seemed to bother people. Because I'm blind, I think a lot of people were nervous. So I don't know, but I was nervous when he picked me up. We had a Jamocha shake. I love Jamocha shakes. So we sat there for a couple hours and talked. He talked about his trumpet and asked me what kind of music I liked. It was almost like talking to somebody I already knew. And I said, I'd like to marry somebody like you. And I thought, oh, how stupid can you be? You don't say that, but, and Ben said, oh, well, let's get you home first. And I thought, oh, he's never going to call me back now.
We dated for 2 years. We went to a mall. I had the ring in my pocket, and I said, oh, I didn't mean to bring this with me. Can you hold it? And she put her fingers on it, and then she cried like a baby. It was 32 years ago when we got married.
One funny part was trying to feed Ben cake, but I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to get icing all over his face.
I had no exposure to anyone in the blind or visually impaired community. She was totally independent. She would almost resist me being too overprotective.
People always assume that Ben did everything in our house, but I cooked, I cleaned, I did it all. Within, 11 months later, we had Jenna.
Rhonda was the most energetic mother that you'll ever see.
I love Dr. Seuss, so I'd read them all those. I am Sam, Sam I am, I do not like green eggs and ham. I bought magnetic letters that you put on the refrigerator, and every day I'd change the letters and make different words, so that when they started kindergarten, they could read.
She wanted her kids to excel because she didn't want people to feel sorry for them.
Oh, poor things, their mom can't see. So I made sure they knew more than anybody else knew. We had our 2 girls, we were raising them, and we had a really happy home.
Then one day while I was driving, I started to see halos of light.
He figured he'd been working too long, and I said, well, look, I think eyesight is a precious gift to have, and you shouldn't take it for granted.
Well, I remember the doctor's office being very quiet and very solemn. And then he said, Mr. Partain, you have some pretty advanced retina damage in both eyes. Within the year, you'll be totally blind. The first thing I wondered is, how am I going to support my family?
He was the one that drove, and he read the bills, and he purchased the groceries. So why would this be happening? This shouldn't be happening.
Eventually, I would have been so withdrawn and depressed, maybe I would have just given up. She had dealt with this her whole life, and there was no excuse for me not to be able to do it.
I showed him that there were programs on the computer that would magnify the screen. He liked to read the newspaper. And I said, you can still read the newspaper, only it's a different way.
I have a whole new perspective. She basically put me through blind boot camp, and that's what saved my life.
I think it was fate that Ben and I were supposed to be together.
How could I have known that one blind date would be the genesis of a marriage, 2 daughters, 5 grandchildren, a world of challenges and triumphs?
Life is never dull. It's a journey we live one chapter at a time.
We're definitely soulmates.